Hey everybody, welcome back into Pritch's Get Stitches. Glad you're here. Glad you have found us and you're with us. Holly, how are you?
I don't know. I'm okay, I guess. Hot. As I wear my 3/4 length sleeve shirt. Didn't do any laundry, so I don't have any of the tank tops I normally like to wear clean. So had to go with my black Giant shirt for the Negro League baseball team. Couldn't go with a Giant shirt right now. We're not so hot at the moment.
Oh, I haven't really been paying attention. I just saw they lost to the Rangers. Lost the series to the Rangers. Did they get swept?
No, we did win one of them.
Oh.
We did win one against the Rays. We're currently I don't know what's happening. We were down 3.5 games from first. Now we're down 10.5 games.
Oh, wow.
30 Dodgers are on a 11-game winning streak. We're 3-7 in the last 10 games. It's just disheartening at this point. I just feel like every year this happens.
Yeah. Well, kind of like Cowboys fans, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be our year, and then never is.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's where we're at.
Awesome. So we've had some exciting news this week all around for all my kids.
Oh, I'm like, we did? What did we hear?
We are all back in school. I think we talked about that last week. They started, but now it's like first full week.
Okay.
Jared's playing football. He's JV A team.
Nice.
And Lexi's marching band. She's marching on Friday nights there on the football field. So good news for me is I get to go to every ball game.
I don't know if that's sarcasm or not.
I love it. I love to go to the football
You
games.
love to go to football games even on Friday nights when it's hot and your kid's not playing.
Yes, I love football. I love to watch football. I love to play football. Now I love to ref football. I love to coach football.
Yeah, but it's like 110 degrees.
That doesn't matter. When you love something, it's all good.
I love you, Lexi, but I will not be attending any of those games.
Well, see, here's the thing about Texas. Like, it's super hot right now. And then you're like, okay, well, I'll go to the games later in the year. Well, then it's super cold. So it's like, there's no in between. We don't get much of an in between at night. It's like, once the football games start, it's like, okay, it's hot, it's hot, it's hot. And then boom, I got to bundle up.
Right. But I'm not going anyway because it's a Friday night. So
You're not doing anything. You know, dating going on. You gave up on that.
yeah, but there's still drinking going on. Friday was never really for dating as much as it was for drinking.
Okay. So also Ava found out she made the volleyball team at the middle school, which, we figured.
Yeah, she did call me. I was waiting on the call last night and I never got it. That she made A team.
So they haven't picked out teams yet. However, and I don't say this, what I'm about to tell you, there may be some listeners who are like, oh my gosh, like bragging about his kid. I tell you this because I'll tell you why I tell you it, but I'm going to tell you something and then I'll tell you why I talk about it. Okay, so they get the cuts, right? And so the school, the coach will be like, okay, these are the girls that made it. Okay. Mm-hmm. And if your number is not on the list, then you didn't make the team.
Okay.
Well, the list comes out and Ava, it's funny because she's like so excited. She's anticipating this list coming out. She's going to have to scroll to find her number because it's not by name. It's by their student ID number. So she's got to scroll to find the number. And she's scrolling. She goes, like, it was so anticlimactic because she's like, of course, my name's like the top of the list. My number's like the top of the list is her number. So she didn't even get to like scroll and look to see if she was there.
Their own moment where she's scrolling the board.
Right.
Okay.
And then so she starts scrolling. She calls all her friends. So Ava's got this list of all her friends' ID numbers. So now she's scrolling for her friends' number, right? Mm-hmm. And so she sees her friends that made it. And anyway, so we're looking at this list and we're like, well, maybe it's alphabetical order. Your name's Ava, right? Well, then she has another friend that is like third or fourth on the list, and she's under her, and her name alphabetically would be in front of her. Uh-huh. And so we're like, this list is in order based on like how well you played, right? How well you did. Like the last person that they would cut would be the number one on the list, right? Because the first 5 players were like the 5 best players that everybody was kind of talking about. As we had the volleyball team this past season, like the girls would talk about who's going to play next year at the middle school and kind of put girls more. So anyways, so then Ava's top of the list. You got another girl who's really good. Then you got a couple other girls, that they know, anyway, so they go through the list and I'm like, Val, I don't know. And this is why I'm bringing it up. Ava has only played rec volleyball and I've only ever been her coach. It's only me. And then we have a coach that comes in and does some private lessons with her and then coaches the team at practice. And then I coach the game, but it's only ever been rec leagues. It's never like club team. She's never played club. And here it's like, oh, you have to play club in order to do anything. And so and then the second cuts came out and Ava was again top of the list. And I'm like, Val, we did it. We beat the system. That was the whole thing I was trying to do, was beat the system of you got to pay thousands and thousands of dollars for your kid to play club in order to make the volleyball team. And, travel all over in order for her to even have a shot. And I'm like, Val, we did it. We beat the system. We played rec volleyball and she was top of the list. And whether that means anything or not, but I'm pretty sure it was ranked. And I'm like, even if it wasn't, I'm like, we beat the system. We did it.
Yeah. And also my question is, how many of the players on that list from her rec team, because I know she plays with some that go to her school, like in the top 5, six, because there's 6 on the team that play at one time, right?
Right.
So how many in the top 6 were from her rec team?
So initially the rec team, we had the twins. They moved on to play club.
Oh, okay.
But as far as the ones that didn't play club that were on rec, none in the top 6. However, we had, I think one of them was 9 who played with us, but never, was never on a club team. But I coached a lot of the girls that went on and played club. We had another girl that plays up in Gunner, and she's on the A team, and her dad was my assistant coach. And this was our whole thing. And so I texted him, and he's like, yeah, she made A team. And obviously Gunner's a little 3A school or 2A, something like that. So it's a small little area. And so there's not a lot of competition. But still, I'm like, this is why we did it, and there's going to be other girls that, some of the girls are still putting in, what team they made and where they're at. But I think the ones that have tried out that played for us have all made a team. Nice. It's just a matter of where on the team are they, A team, B team, that kind of thing.
And I think a lot of that too, I do think that a lot of it has to do with how you've played as far as club versus rec. But I think a lot of it has to just do with your own personal skill level, how hard you want it, how much you want it, how much you've practiced. And I know Ava's played a lot, so
yeah, she's definitely got a drive. I was hoping that when the second cuts came out that she was second or third on the list, because that would light a fire in her to do better. But she's fired up. She's excited. And I just told her, I'm like, hey, listen, you're top of the list, right? There may be girls, you may have friends and things that get cut that aren't on the team, and don't walk around look at me,
right.
Make sure you
be humble.
Yeah. Make sure you help them. Make sure if there's a girl that needs help that you're showing them what to do. That's leadership at that point. You already made the team. Now it's time to be a leader, a vocal leader and a leader on the court. So trying to teach that, trying to help her with that. But
I think she'll do well. She doesn't strike me as the boasty type either though.
No, she can have some RBF though from time to time.
Oh, we all can. She just comes by that naturally. I have an RBF. Can't help it. It's just the way it is.
Okay, so Holly, you went to World Market a couple weeks ago. You brought us a bunch of stuff, and I decided today we're going to go with a drink. We've eaten a couple things, and you brought this, and I just thought it was awesome. It's been sitting in our fridge, and we are going to try the Bob Ross Positive Energy Drink. What the heck? What is this?
I have no idea. It was in the front cooler by the Clearly Canadians.
Okay.
And so I got it. And I love Bob Ross. And there's a documentary about him on Netflix that I think it's on Netflix that I've watched. It's actually pretty sad the way they've exploited his name and his likeness. His family doesn't get anything from it. It's pretty corrupt, but I still love Bob Ross anyway.
Dude, Bob Ross was great. I mean,
yeah,
it's like a fishing. Bob Ross was like a fishing show. So you're scrolling the channels, and we're kids, and we're
you have to watch it.
Like on PBS, and you're like, oh, watch Bob Ross. It was crazy. He's like, okay, we have a blank canvas, and then let's just do this, and now we have a mountain landscape, and you're like, mountain landscape out of that. You literally just.
He's a cool dude. Him and Mr. Rogers, I think, are genuinely everything that everybody's ever said about them are just they're genuinely good people. And I didn't even know his last 2 seasons, he had cancer, but he just was I want to go as long as I can, because he would get all these fan letters where they would say you helped me out of a deep depression. And he just had such a strong connection with his little PBS crowd that he just kept going until he couldn't anymore. But I love me some Bob Ross. So
so we're going to have some positive energy. Let's open that up. Let's see how good it sounds.
My guess is it's probably going to taste like Red Bull.
All right. It's blue in color.
Is it? Wasn't going with that. Okay.
Matches the outside. Definitely blue in color.
Would not have guessed that. Okay. Oh, wow. It's like big blue color.
Yeah, big blue.
It's exactly what it looks
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
Okay.
If it's good, I'll probably have it for the rest of the show.
Yeah, I'll let you have it. I don't
me see.
typically drink these.
Oh, it's like
Smells
blue
like
raspberry. Blue
something.
raspberry?
Yeah.
Kind of smells like blue Gatorade. Cool blue.
Oh,
Gatorade.
yeah. I could see that.
Let me see if it tells a flavor here. Nope.
No? All
Just
right.
positive. This is positive.
All right,
Positive
maybe
energy drink. Bob Ross. Here we go. Let's see how
All
positive
right,
he is.
ready? 3, 2, 1.
Good stuff.
Wow. That might be one of the best energy drinks I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I don't even like energy drinks, but this is good. No wonder. How
Want
much
more?
caffeine?
Bob Ross, you done good. Well, there's 39 grams of sugar.
Well, that's pretty high.
Yeah. And there's it's only got 100 milligrams of caffeine. So
It's not bad.
no, some of them have like some of the one like Celsius has 200. No,
Wow, that is good.
that's a good drink. So
Note
Bob
this down.
Ross positive energy drink. I mean,
The only place I know you can get that is World Market. Never seen it anywhere else. Don't know if they sell it anywhere else. But there we go. Bob Ross. Good things still. Good things still coming from Bob Ross.
yes. Old Bob. That is a good energy. I have
That
to
it
go get
is.
some. I mean, that's better than, well, of course it's better. It's got 39 grams of sugar. Let's start there. I was
Oh,
going
yeah,
to say
for
it's
sure.
better than Celsius or better than Optimum Nutrition, the on drinks that I
How
have.
much sugars do those have though?
Zero.
Oh,
There's zero
gotcha.
sugar. Like the ones I usually drink are zero sugar. So
Right.
I don't have to worry about the sugar intake. But
Well, you can only have these like once a week then.
yeah, 39 grams in this bad boy.
Actually, you could probably have these more with all that running around you're going to be doing.
Well, I mean, I could. It's only on Tuesdays.
Yeah, but you're going to be. So on Tuesdays, there you go.
Drink it on Tuesdays.
Drink it on Tuesdays.
Talk about that here in a minute. Obviously referring to my hat.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get there. Had a fun time last night. Football field. But speaking of all the running and the walking that we're going to be doing, why don't you tell us about the longest road you can walk in the world?
All right. Fun fact of the day. So, the suspected longest walking route, and they say suspected because nobody's actually ever walked it that they know of, but the suspected longest walking route on Earth is a continuous walking route. So, you don't have to stop for boats or ferries or anything like that, is 14,000 miles. It goes from South Africa to, I got a blue tongue. Just noticed that.
Immediately.
From South Africa to northern Russia. And to complete the trip at a sustainable walking pace, it would take about 3 years. So you'd either have to, I think though, if you did that trip on a walking trip, you couldn't take all your gear with you. You'd have to do like the, it's like an app or something, Trade Up, where you like have something and you trade
Offer
it for
up.
something.
Oh,
The
I
guy
don't know.
started, something like that. I don't know. The guy started with like a paperclip and ended with like a house.
Right.
Like he kept trading stuff all the way up. So I feel like you'd have to do something like that. You'd always have to have something that you could trade to somebody for like a blanket or something, armor. Because I'm assuming at some point you're going through some places that are going to be war torn. My assumption.
Yeah.
I didn't look at what countries it goes through, but
I just know I'd never walk that. Like ever in my life. There's like I would never do it. So I don't even think about it. 14,000 miles. I mean,
no, I wouldn't either.
I wonder how long it would take somebody just on their average day. I guess we could look it up, but to walk 14,000 miles. How long does it take to walk 14,000?
We'll have to look that up and share it. There was a guy who's walked in his lifetime 40 something thousand miles, but it's not continuous, but he's on a religious pilgrimage.
Yeah, I mean, not continuous, just like
Right.
every day. I know who did probably walk 14,000 miles. That old dude that used to walk to run down 195.
Real, the green
Wave at
shorts.
everybody.
Yes.
That dude was,
He just retired a few years back.
he died. Isn't he dead?
I thought he died, but they put a story. Well, I mean, he could have died since then, but at the time, he was just retiring. He was going so slow, though. He would just look like he was running, but he really was just like a walk, but he maintained that pose of a run. Green shorts,
let's
no
put it on
shirt.
Let's put it on the poll. Do you know what guy we are talking about that runs down 195?
Yep. Karen knows. I know Kuzak knows.
Well, Heidi knows. She lives down that
Yeah,
way.
Heidi would know. I don't know if Elizabeth ever saw him. I feel like Elizabeth might have seen him.
And it'd be like, what, like 3:30 every day?
Hot hot. It wasn't like he was doing it first thing in the morning.
Bald guy.
Short shorts.
Short shorts. Tall, skinny black guy. He'd wave at every car that came by.
I think he was like in his 80s or 90s when he stopped doing it. And they did like a huge piece on him in the newspaper because he waved at every car that would go by. He would wave. And he'd done it for years and years and years. Yep. I'll have to get Kuzak to tell me the full story. She knows that full story because she used to, her parents live out that way, kind of out by Heidi on Maxdale Road. And so she used to see him and she knows the story of the guy.
And every day, when you drive up 195, there he was.
That's some dedication.
Yeah.
I wonder if he wore the same shorts or did he have multiple pairs of the same shorts?
I hope he had multiple pairs because it was hot.
That or he washed his shorts every day.
It would be swassy in there.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. Speaking of polls, let's talk about some polls here real quick, Holly.
All right.
We did a couple polls.
One was the hijacking one, right?
Yeah.
Did you comply or fight back? And then what was the other one? Merging.
My nose itched. The other one was about merging. So would you comply or fight back? And then the other one was merging. Okay, so here's the poll. The first one says, when the road is closed ahead, how do you handle the situation? Okay. 2 options. Stay in the closing lane until it's closed.
Okay.
That was my answer.
That's my answer.
And the other one was move over to the open lane as quickly as possible.
Okay.
And so we had 17 votes, 45% of the poll, 17 of the votes was to move over as quickly as possible. 45% of the people
They're just screwing themselves. You people, you're screwing yourselves by sitting in that, moving over right away.
And then 54% of the vote, which is 20 votes, was the other way. They stay in the lane until it's closed. And actually, I had some feedback on that. So let me go there real quick.
I'm guessing your brother-in-law said, I hate people who stay in the lane. Wasn't it him who complained about it?
No. He was one that says stay in the lane, but it was 7 comments on this thing. We got my neighbor, Demetrius. Got to call you out, brother. He says, I cannot, in all caps, stand cars that force merge when the lane runs out. Common courtesy.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Common courtesy says move over as quickly as possible.
Not true, Demetrius. Common courtesy does not dictate that. Law says use the zipper method. Yes. Everybody goes until the lane closes. So you can throw common courtesy out the window, Demetrius, if you're listening.
So then my buddy Brad Spratt, who lives in the Beaumont area, and he's actually a political guy. Brad Spratt for something, right?
There you go.
And he posted a picture from the Oregon Department of Transportation, and TxDOT has used something as well. But it shows a picture of the zipper merge, and the reason why is you use both lanes and take turns moving forward. Both lanes are used, lines are shorter, traffic moves smoothly. But when you use the early merge, you're just wasting road, and it takes longer. And my buddy
Demetrius
and my buddy Gary, who is a fireman here in Garland. He says zipper merge is where it's at, but there are a ton of people that get offended and refuse to let people merge. So in turn, everyone has to slow way down. I personally don't think waiting until the very end to merge is the best either if traffic is flowing at a good rate, because then inevitably you or someone else will have to tap their brakes and then it all develops into the common bottleneck. So I guess all that to say, merge at a reasonable distance while avoiding the brakes if possible, unless EMS, construction, or police are present. He's a fireman. That was it really. So
yeah, I was on the way to the house today. There was a car accident on the tollway. So it took me forever to get here. And it was tollway's 3 lanes for the most part to your house.
I was going to ask you, should that happen, do you know the back way to my house? Like back roads, different roads?
I don't, but usually Google Maps will tell me if there's a shorter way. But I think that probably was the quickest way through it because the amount of people getting off was backing up on all, like I looked on frontage roads and all of the frontage roads were backed up because I'm assuming it was probably a pretty messy wreck. By the time I got there, they only had 1 car left to tow, but 2 of the lanes were closed. So I was in the left lane, of course. So my lane, because everybody was merging into my lane was taking longer than the other 2 lanes to get over. Okay. But then I thought of that movie that I was telling you about I think it's a Danish movie, I think. It's called The New God or something. It's the girl whose dad is God, but he's a jerk. So he comes up with a list of all the things that are always going to happen. So I always think that when I'm going to change the lane, because this lane's going faster,
right?
Then I'll get in that lane and the lane I was in originally is going to go faster.
Right.
So I just stayed in the left lane. But yeah, it was taking forever on my lane because everybody was merging to it. But it was almost like they had to zipper lane because they closed the far right lane first. So everybody from those 2 had to zipper and then they had to all zipper into mine. But yeah,
Yeah, that's no fun. The tollway backing up is ridiculous, especially because there's construction and all
Right.
sorts of stuff too.
Yep.
So our second poll was, if you were in a hijack situation, how do you think you would respond? In parentheses, based on the TV show Hijack with Holly's dream man.
Mm-hmm.
100% of the people said they would fight back.
How many?
19 votes. 0 people said they would comply.
I think there's a big difference in the world today versus the world at 9/11.
Could be. Yeah.
That's the only reason I could think, because I think that having seen what happens if they just sit back and comply,
Right.
like, nah, I'm going to take that risk. I told Sean, though, he was the only one who responded on our YouTube, so I told him he could be on my flight, 100%.
Oh, I haven't looked at the YouTube comments. I don't look at those very often.
I don't either. I just remember every once in a while, like, oh, I got to go check to see, because I hold all the comments for review. So then I run in, and I know that Sean, honestly, whenever we ask a poll question, I always know I have to look the day after or the day that we publish, because I know Sean is always going to respond.
I love Sean.
He always replies on our YouTube one. So
he's my best friend.
Aw, so cute.
Sean,
I will say,
great.
It took Scott like all week to admit that he really liked having me here, but he talks good about you all the time, but he almost.
It was a friendship test. I thought you were doing the friendship test on me.
I was a little drunk last week, and so I was like being sentimental and telling you how much I enjoyed being here and loved being around your family, and how you're one of my favorite people. Then you were like, okay. I don't even know what your response was. It was like something random.
Probably like YouTube.
Oh no, it was, are you drunk?
Oh yeah, that's right. Because listen, oh hey Lou, it's like you're like, oh my gosh, I love you so much. You're my favorite person in the world. Your family is so great. I just love everybody.
I did not, but yes. So Sean, he must really love you if he talks about that and says, I love Sean, because he can't even tell me.
Yeah.
And then it took him like a couple days to finally say that he really likes me being here.
Listen, I'm just not a sentimental guy, I guess, in that sense.
Which kind of makes me laugh, because I feel like you're a lot like Dad in a lot of ways, but Dad is very quick to say, like, I love you and glad you're here and all that, and you're not.
I'm not. I'm very guarded with that, I guess. It shouldn't be with my family, but it's just a known. Hey, we'll just blanket it. Holly, I love you. Love you being around.
Aww,
there you go. That's it.
I feel like you're being sarcastic at this point.
No, it's true, but if ever you question, there it is.
For the world to hear.
Oh man. Okay, so polls. If you guys are listening, and always go to our socials and like, subscribe, follow. We have some fun stuff up there. Actually, Holly, I've decided to kind of hire somebody to handle our social media.
I know, and it's amazing. And
she hasn't started yet, though.
Well, she signed into her Instagram account, I think, because I'm like, I got this notification, and I was like, oh, thank God. Yeah. She signed in. I've already deleted TikTok off my phone. Now, granted, I had to because that's a government regulation. If you do any...
Chinese are checking you out.
Yeah. If you do any business like related to government. So because not my government email, but my company email, I check on my phone. Mm-hmm. I deleted that off because I do, some business on there and respond to emails. But that was like the happiest day of my life, to log out of that account, delete it. Now I'm just waiting for the others. Every day I get like 1 billion freaking notifications for Instagram, where I'm like, I don't care. So-and-so is going live. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I've never taken them off in case somebody like comments on our videos or whatever. I always tried to go on and respond. But since we haven't posted anything in a while.
All right.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So she's going to start. I really haven't posted anything because I want her to kind of take over. And I actually am hiring her for, my process serving business, because that's part of my marketing plan, is to increase our Facebook, Instagram, all that, increase our visibility there so that people know our name that would need us, obviously in the legal field. And so that's, and then I just kind of bundle it in. I'm like, hey, podcast as well. Let's bundle that in with it. So she's going to handle that all for us. I'll send you the bill later.
Don't send me no bill.
Anyway,
you're paying.
Anyway, so Holly, the other day, you texted me to kind of get into what I think is kind of an important subject. You texted me the other day about your health journey, kind of where you're at, and you've been here and there and trying to figure out kind of your body, and you got this nickel allergy, and it may be causing all these things to happen. So you go to the doctor the other day, and the doctor kind of gives you a different answer as to what's going on, possibly.
Yeah. So I went to the doctor, and we just were kind of talking. It's my, annual checkup, woman checkup. And so I'm at the gynecologist and I'm talking to him. And I just kind of mentioned a couple different things that I'd been experiencing and dealing with, like in a passing conversation. And so then he starts kind of asking me some probing questions around that, about like my sleep. Have I experienced some weight gain? Am I having trouble losing weight? How's my energy level? What's my libido like? So he's kind of asking me all these questions. And so I respond, he goes, it sounds like you have low testosterone. And I'm like, of course I do. Like, why, it's like I hit 40, everything goes downhill. So he's like, obviously you don't have as much testosterone as a man does, but women do produce it. And usually in their 40s or early 40s, they start to lose testosterone. And so it can cause all of these issues that I'm having, that I'm dealing with on a daily basis. And the only way that you can detect it is through blood work. So he took my blood, tells me, comes back, the results come back, a couple days later, and he tells me that I indeed have low testosterone and they want to start hormone therapy. So what it is it's pellets. I don't know how they work. I don't know what they do. They insert them, I guess. I don't know where. But anyway, I've really struggled in like losing weight, like, or even just having energy to work out still, like even after like, okay, making sure I'm eating better, but I still just feel like, man, I'm just worn out. I can't make it through a 15-minute row, whatever. And so, yeah, he's like, that's exactly what it is. And you're at that age, because Susie, our cousin, she, I feel like every time I say her name, I say our cousin. Everybody knows Susie's my cousin.
Hey, Susie is our cousin. Hey, Susie. Cousin.
So
when I see her next, I'm going to be like, hey, Susie, our cousin, how are you? Because you'll have ingrained it into my brain.
That's right. Susie, our cousin. She made a joke that I was perimenopausal. And so that's how it all kind of started when I asked the doctor, and then he was, kind of went into that. But anyway, so we'll have to see how that goes. And so I have a couple girlfriends who have started the hormone therapy, and they just said that like their energy level is insane, and they have, they don't have the night. Because for me, it's like at night when I'm sleeping, I have poor sleep, but it's like I'm waking up because I'm so hot. Right. But it's like, how am I, even though I'm in linen sheets?
Maybe your body can't regulate correctly. Is that?
Yeah, it has something to do with the way it regulates. So it's like I have my house set to 67 degrees, 2 fans on high in my room, like, and I wake up sweating, and I'm like, and I'm only under a sheet, and I'm not even under the sheet all the way. So he's like, yeah, that has everything to do with it. So I'm starting that. I think my appointment's in September, but I'm hoping that once I get on that, it'll be easier. I'll start seeing results. Like I'll be able to have the energy that that I'm used to, so that I can row better and work out better, lose some weight.
So I have a buddy who was telling me about that. He's like, hey man, he got his testosterone levels checked, and he's like shooting himself up, shot into his leg or something regularly. Yeah,
you can do the shots or the pellets, and I think the difference is the shots are cheaper, but you have to do them on a weekly basis. So
yeah, I don't know. I haven't gone to do that yet. I think my time will come.
Probably. Actually. I mean, you are 40 now, so it's going to happen.
Yeah, well, you're mid 40s. Okay. Just kidding.
So there's a lyric of a song I heard the other day that kind of ties into like old age for me, I guess. And it's, our bodies will age, but we'll never grow old. It's a song by Saint Motel called Fine Wine. And that's how I feel. Like, I feel like Karen and I talk about this a lot, like our body's betraying us. Mm-hmm. Like she's having issues right now with her knee, and she's having to go to PT and all this other stuff. And she's like, and we're both like, how were we at this point like a year ago? And this is like, we've drastically declined in the last year. And that's it. Like in my brain, like we've talked about before, I'm 28 years old, so I should be able to do things 28-year-olds do, but I can't, because my body is aging, even if I'm never going to grow old.
So I was at a varsity football scrimmage last night. Okay. And switching gears, but going along with what you're saying. Okay. And I was officiating, because like we talked about last week, I'm starting to ref, and so I'll talk about that here in a second. But the game last night, I was there, and I was shadowing one of the officials on the field. It was the side judge. So if you have, Ollie, no idea where the side judge even is or what they do.
I would assume he does the chains.
Nope. So there's the chain crew that does the chains, and then the head linesman is right in front of the chain crew. So he's on the line of scrimmage, the head linesman.
Okay. That's the white hat guy?
Nope, that's the referee. So the head linesman.
Oh, linesman. Got it. Okay.
Head linesman. So across from the head. So the referee's behind the quarterback. The head linesman is at the chains, and across from him is the line judge.
Across from him in what direction?
Okay, sorry, across the field, like parallel with him.
Oh, so the chains are only on one side of the field?
Chains are only on one side.
Oh, got it. Got it. Okay.
So they're both kind of working together. And then you go down the field 25 yards and you have on the side of the head linesman, you have the side judge.
Okay.
On the other side, you have the field judge. And in the middle of the field, 30 yards down the field, you have the back judge. Okay.
Goodness.
So there's 7 of them. That's a 7-man crew. So
and they're all on the opposite side that's going towards the touchdown. So like if the offense has the ball and they're going this way, then all of the refs stand on this side.
So
aside from the guy who's standing behind the quarterback.
So the referee, sorry, and I did miss the umpire. So the referee is behind the quarterback. Okay.
I didn't know this was all so complicated. Good God.
So the referee's behind the quarterback.
That's the white hat.
Yes, and he's facing the defense. So he's watching the offensive line.
Got it.
The umpire is behind the defensive line facing the offense, right? So the referee and the umpire kind of work together.
Gotcha.
You have the 2 guys on the line that are on the line of scrimmage.
Got it.
And they're the ones that spot the ball as you go down. They have the spot. And then further down beyond past the defense. So closer to the touchdown.
Got it.
Is the back judge, the side judge, and the field judge.
I mean, and I've watched football my entire life and have never known any of this. So I didn't even know football had an umpire, to be quite honest with you. I thought that was
he's the one that spots the ball. He's middle of the field.
What color is his hat?
They're all black, like mine. Except the only one that has a different color hat is the referee.
But all the other refs on the field have white stripes?
Black with white stripes.
Okay. I wasn't sure if there was like
and that's
or black or something.
That's only usually varsity up. So if you're out there to JV game, they'll all have black white stripes.
Okay.
The referee just happens to be the one that's going to call the penalty.
Got it. Okay.
So anyways, I'm shadowing the side judge, and I found I love that spot. Okay. I'm 25 yards off the ball. I played receiver when I was in school, so I'm watching the outside most receiver. Okay. And I don't really have to blow my whistle much. And all I'm doing is making sure, I'm watching for penalties, which is the hardest thing, Holly. Probably the hardest thing of being a referee is not watching the play and watching the ball. Because for 40 years, I've watched 35 years that I've watched football. I've always watched the ball, right? Mm-hmm. And somebody said something, they're like, if you want to watch the game, go buy a ticket, right? You're here to officiate. And I'm like, okay, got it. So I'm like,
true.
So anyways, I'm shadowing, and it's just a scrimmage. So it's not like a real game. So I'm shadowing the side judge, and I have to take off. And so he's with me, and he's like, hey, hold, he's telling me hold. And the other part is, me, I'm kind of like, well, I'm a homebody. And so I like to be alone sometimes and just, and out there, I'm 25 yards off. I don't have a coach yelling down my neck. I'm just out there by myself on an island. And there were some plays where we didn't even move. We just stood there. The ball went to the other side. It was a 5-yard run to the other side. And he's like, see, didn't even move. Didn't have to move. And anyway, so this ball comes, the runner comes towards me. He's like, hold. And he's like, go. So I take off running, and I'm like running with.
Is he running with you?
I don't think he's running with. No, okay. He only sent me because I was the one in the game at that point.
Got it.
So I'm running down the sideline with this kid that's, 16, 17 years old, running back,
You able to keep up?
And see, I had a head start, but he definitely caught up to me. And I'm like, this was awesome, right? So he gets tackled. The head lineman's down there, and he's marks the ball, and he comes over. His name's Thomas. He comes over, he gives me a high five, like a low five. It's like, good job, Scott, good job. But that's he does college ball, he does high school ball. But I turned to him and I'm like, bro, I think my hardest thing is trying to keep up with these kids. And he looks at me, he goes, man, we all have that problem. Man, not one of us can keep up with these boys, man. You just do the best you can. So I actually later on, I had another one, same kind of thing, the other side, and he actually scored a touchdown. And so I got to call my first touchdown last night, reffing this game.
Very cool.
Got my hands up, blew the whistle, and then immediately my boy Thomas, the other ref that I'm shadowing, he's like, Scott. He's laughing. He's like, well, you have happy feet, man. You're just all over the place. You can just run to the end zone, get to the goal line, stop, put your hands up. Because I had overshot the goal line by a yard. I had run so fast, I wasn't paying attention. I realized, that's the goal line. So I have to come back to the goal line and signal touchdown. But no, I've been learning a lot. It's been fun. I've, last week I went to a scrimmage. So I signed up to ref, Holly, like last Wednesday. Okay.
Right.
Today's Friday. So a week and 2 days ago, I'm like, I'm going to do this. So I go to what's called TASO, Texas Association of Sports Officials. So I go there and I sign up, and then we have a chapter, here, the Dallas chapter. So I sign up with them, and I get an email like Thursday. It's like, hey, we could still use some new officials over at this scrimmage over in Irving. And I'm like, I'm in. So I'm literally a day and a half in, and don't even have striped shirt, nothing. I don't have anything. They're like, wear a white shirt, black shorts, and a black hat. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm there. And I learned a lot there. And I met a guy who's a referee. He's a white hat. He's a white hat for a crew and for varsity. And he actually lives up just north of us. And so I learned a lot from him that day. I emailed him, said, hey, thanks for taking the time to work with me. Anyway, so he's like, hey, man, I'd love to mentor you and teach you. You seem like you got, you'd be good. And I'm like, oh, awesome. So he's trying to get me to a lot of his games. And then he said something. So he called me this morning. He said something. He's like, hey, you're going to have a chance to get on the field probably this year with varsity, assuming my schedule will allow me. I've got kids doing stuff. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even think about it, but he's like, there's a lot of 1A games, 2A, 3A, 4A. And I'm like, because all I'm thinking about is 6A, right? Like the big schools. And I'm like, dude, like that's kind of intimidating. Like year one, you're in the 6A, Prosper versus Allen game,
Right.
But he's like, there's a lot of small schools that are going to need it. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's awesome. Forgot about that. So anyways, it's been fun. So he's become my mentor, so to speak, that's actually, I logged in and added him as my mentor. And so I feel like I'm kind of going in the right direction. I ended up reffing on Saturday after the Irving scrimmage. I ended up going and reffing at the local flag football fields and was not prepared for that. And Holly, I got roasted out there. It was 110 degrees.
What it is today.
And I didn't really put any sunscreen on, and I'm like a snake right now peeling. It's crazy.
Do you have a line on your head? Like a sunburn line from your hat? I
had, but I did have.
You still got a line. You're going to have that line too.
I got to go outside and what I got to do is just put like a towel over my head and just let my.
You're going to have to do something. Otherwise you're going to be two-tone every Sunday at church.
I'll just wear a hat. I figured like last week, I'm like, what am I going to do? Because it was really bad on Sunday. I'm like,
yeah, it was. You sent me a picture. You look like a tomato on half your head.
I was like, maybe I should like pull a Kevin from The Office and get a toupee. And put it on. Take it to church.
They have those that look realistic, man. Val showed me a TikTok one day of a guy who had it. It looked pretty real.
Yeah. Little Asian guy.
Yeah.
And his hair like boom. And then he just kept putting them on.
Well, what you should do is contact the Odom family. Find out what they did with Ed's.
Could use that. Loved Ed Odom. Ed Odom had the same hair for 50 years.
Man. It's good hairstyle on him. I didn't know it's toupee. I don't think I knew until it was like in my 20s.
The first time I saw him without it on, I'm like,
I never saw him without. Weird. I think the first time I saw it was his birthday, and you sent me a picture or something of him without it. Like somebody had posted on Facebook, and I'm like, what?
I'm like, did you know Ed Odom had a toupee? And you're like, what?
I knew.
I mean, you knew he did.
Had never seen him without it before. I didn't know he took it off.
Yeah. I need to give me one of those.
I have to get one.
Give me one of those. Wear it to church, but. Anyway, so that's my journey. So, I do this, I talked about a couple of weeks ago, about getting doing something else, and I was going to start a business, and I'm like, you know what, and I love it. Like, I feel like you with college right now, like, you're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm reading the rule book for the 2023 NCAA rule book. And you're like, what? And I'm like, yes, love it. Like I watching videos. I'm trying to get 100 on my test. Crazy.
I mean, it's definitely you. I don't think I've ever seen you this excited about anything.
Yeah, process serving business, not exciting.
Ever. Like you're very even keel for the most part. But you're like, I got to call a touchdown and I got to do this and this is awesome and this is great and I love it.
Greatest day of my life, call a touchdown. Boom.
You'll never forget that day. Got to call it. Blow the whistle. Do they have different whistles?
No.
Like it's all the same whistle? Oh, well, there was fun in that.
I mean, I guess at the end of the game, like or into the half or into the quarter or whatever, maybe like
a longer whistle.
Blow the whistle differently, like a different.
Do they have like competitions, like reffing competitions?
Oh, maybe they do. Like who can like well, we did like
HEB?
At Irving they had at the end of the scrimmage they lined up all the new refs and we all had to throw the flag and see who got it closest to the end zone. That was our.
Just wondering because like when I worked at HEB, they had I don't know if they still do this, but they had I was bagger of the year I started. And we had to go down to a competition in Austin.
Oh, wow.
And so we had the best cashier and the best bagger from the store go down. And then because at the time they would teach you'd go through like intensive training just to bag at HEB because they wanted to make sure you knew how to bag properly and everything else. Right. And so they do like a competition where they have a quote unquote grocery shopper who comes and unloads the cart. And then the cashier checks them out. And then it's based on like how fast can you get them checked out and bagged, and then they go through your bags and make sure you bag properly. So I was curious, do they do things like that where they have like your ref of the year, and then if you
Oh, I'm sure they
you
do.
make it, then you get to decide who's on your team, or I don't know which game you're going to go to or something. And how do you move up to get to the Super Bowl?
But
Like, how do you start in Texas and get to the NFL crew?
I'm just trying to get on the field right now. I have no idea. I mean, I haven't looked into that far yet. But I know that you can sign up for camps for college. So I do know a couple of things. In order to ref in the NFL, you have to have ref for 10 years, and half of those years, so 5 of those years, you have to have refed in college. So these guys ref, high school games, and then they ref college games. One of the guys there last night, he's reffing at the University of Oklahoma opener. So he's going to be there, which is big time,
Right.
Some of these guys, they ref college, and it's, just as small colleges, JUCO or stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know yet. I'm just like, let me get on the field. Let me learn to like watch the play and not like watch for things to officiate instead of watching the ball. And so last night, one other thing, he's standing next to me, goes, "Oh, that's a block in the back." And I'm like, I don't even know which team's supposed to be on offense right now. I forgot. Like, I'm standing back there, and he's like, okay. He's like, it's a handoff. Watch for blocks, watch the play in front of the play for blocks and stuff like that. And then in my mind, I'm like, which team's offense? I can't remember. Is it black on offense or white on offense? Because it was a black jerseys and white jerseys. And I'm like, I don't remember which one's which. And then he goes, "Oh, there's a block in the back." And I'm like, I don't even know where you're looking right now. And then the back judge threw the flag. Like, they were like, because these crews, they stay together. Like, these guys have been reffing together for a while, and so they know each other. Anyway, so the other guy threw it, and then there's a couple things. Like, there was one, the guy drops the ball. He throws it outside of the running back. He drops the ball. Well, the head linesman was right there, but he had stopped looking at him, thinking he caught the ball, and moved on to like look at something else. And so I did the incomplete, but then he kept the ball going, throws down his beanbag, which means it's a fumble.
Right.
But I didn't blow my whistle. Anyways, so then after, he's like, "Hey, was that because he talked to the other guy. He's like, "Hey, was that an incomplete pass?" And I just told him, like, yes, he dropped the ball, it's incomplete. But then I didn't know if you called it, because I couldn't really see. So I'm like, I didn't know if you called it like a backwards pass and now it's a fumble and this and that. And he's like, oh, so it was hard. But anyways, I didn't see any of that.
Beanbags. What do you do with the beanbag?
So beanbag is for like
beanbags. Who has the beanbags?
Everybody has a beanbag. I got a beanbag.
What do you do? I have never seen anything on the field with a beanbag.
Have you never seen
beanbags?
Have you not seen in the NFL? They throw in the NFL, they're like blue. It's like a beanbag. So that's when it's like a turnover. If there's a fumble, they know where the fumble was. They throw their beanbag down so that they can continue on reffing and not to remember where was the fumble, because you can have a lot of things that happen. And if there's a penalty after the fumble on the team that now has the ball, like, where do you spot the ball? It's where the beanbag was, basically.
That's just too much. I just want to watch the game and eat some chips.
I love it. Like, I'm like soaking it up. Like, it's like I'm a sponge. I'm like, this is the greatest thing. I should have done this freaking 20 years ago when Ron Searles told me to go do it. Didn't.
Should have. You could have been on his team and been a white hat already. Could have, should have, would have.
I don't think he's doing it anymore. He's retired.
Probably.
But it's the greatest thing I've ever done. I'd have to say last night. Okay, so one more story about last night, Holly. If this isn't embarrassing. So I show up Monday to the new referee meeting, but I was about 5 minutes late because I didn't know where it was. It's on a college campus. I had to find out where it was. I'm 5 minutes late. They're talking about uniform. So I missed this whole part that I'm about to tell you. So I signed up last night to be on the chain crew. Well, that just essentially means you get a chance to go do like I did, which was shadow. And so I show up. Well, the chain crew is supposed to wear a white shirt. So I show up with my white shirt on.
Okay.
And now, mind you, that the high school is literally across the street from us, like 3 minutes across the street.
Okay.
And I show up, and the other chain crew is in black and whites and stripes. And I'm like, oh, did I miss it?
You didn't take your black and white in the car? I
didn't take it with me because I'm like, I'm just pulling chains. And they're like, oh yeah, they said to wear your black and white stripes because you're going to get it. You're not necessarily probably going to be on the chain crew. You're probably going to be reffing, and I'm like, but I get there at 7:30, games at 8. I'm like, and the head ref shows up and he's like, oh yeah, you don't have your black and white. I'm like, I'm 3 minutes away. I'll drive home right now. Literally, man, I'm flying home. Get home. Ava's like, you're back already? I'm like, I just got to change my clothes. I have to change. I have to change the undershirt. It's got to be black, not white. I have to change it.
This is why you got a 16-year-old. You should have just been like, grab that and bring it to me.
Dude, I couldn't have trusted him to bring it.
No, that's true. He would have forgotten what he was supposed to do.
Yeah. And then he's like, hey, I came over here to academy. I'm like, oh, you're supposed to be here at the high school. Anyways, so I fly home. I get back. I'm all dressed up, like I should be. But I learned always take all my stuff with me.
Yep.
Because you never know. So I was totally in the wrong uniform. And
I used to tell that to Colby and Janny. Always have a spare pair of clothes in your car. And always make sure one of those spare pairs is a swimsuit because you never know when you're going to end up somewhere where you got to like hot tub or go swimming or whatever. So I don't have one in my current car, but for years and years, I always carried extra clothes, shoes, swimsuit.
Yeah. So I just I need to make sure I'm prepared. Go back to my Boy Scout days. Be prepared. So
True. Carry extras. Do you have extras or do you just have one shirt?
I just have one shirt for right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna get it fits me kind of good, but I'm working on my guns so that I can wear a tight shirt, work on my guns and my belly, so I can have the tight striped shirt on and my guns are hanging.
Those are ugly. I hate when guys wear shirts that are too tight and they're going to show like that.
No,
Like
not
you
as a
can have
referee.
nice guns. No.
Ed
And
Hockey
then-
Lee, he's like 55, 60 years old, big old guns hanging out of his shirt.
I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, look him up. Ed Hockey Lee.
He's an NFL ref.
Yeah.
The fact that you are like crushing on NFL refs and know their
yeah.
names.
Dean
ridiculous.
Sterator, same way.
Interesting. Well, I'm glad that you I'm glad that
found
you're
it.
enjoying it.
I found my calling in life, Holly.
I'm just waiting. I'm counting down the days to leave. It's just so hot here that it's like I just need to be gone. I can't. It's just hot.
It is
It's
nasty.
just nasty. I just want to go to a beach.
You know, I got a ref tomorrow at the flag football again, and it's gonna be
like
so
110.
hot. They said that if the heat index is 111, they're gonna cancel the game. It's gonna be hot. So I bought a bunch of Gatorades and bought a bunch of waters, which
And make sure you buy a bunch of sunscreen and wear it.
yeah. So I'm gonna wear long sleeves. I gotta wear white shirts, but I have one of those like 32 degree cool shirts.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna wear that white. I'm gonna have an extra one, but I'm gonna wear that.
Can you wear those underneath?
It's just white shirt, so I'm just gonna wear that white
So it's not
shirt.
long sleeve, or
It's-
it is long sleeve.
This one's long sleeve, yes.
But you can wear a long sleeve underneath.
I can just wear a long sleeve white shirt. All I have to wear is a white shirt. I don't have to wear my black and white stripes. I just have to wear
Oh,
a
we'll
white
take them
shirt.
anyway, just in case.
No black and white stripes tomorrow at the flag.
Oh, gotcha.
But I'm gonna bring a couple extra white shirts, and then I have a bucket hat that I'm gonna wear.
I don't even own a bucket hat. Those
it's
are so
approved.
awful.
It's approved for sub varsity games. And I show up to that meeting the other day, and they're like, if you show up with a bucket hat at my game that I'm reffing at, you better have your black and white with you because you're not wearing a bucket hat.
That's what I'm saying. Bucket hats are the worst.
I've only ever seen one ref wear a bucket hat.
I
But
don't
about
think
it
I've
anyways.
ever seen a ref in a bucket hat.
Well, it's only sub varsity, so 7th grade, 8th grade. Which, by the way,
Gotcha.
Which, by the way, I have a full schedule this season for 7th and 8th grade football, and it's all here in Prosper. I'll be reffing some
Nice.
Prosper games.
What days are those? Just Tuesdays in?
Tuesday nights, yeah.
And then Saturday flag football?
And then Saturday flag football right now,
And then some varsity coming soon. Why
And
does
then
it take all your time?
and then Friday we have a couple Fridays off, so I'm going to try to get onto a crew on those Fridays because we talked about it, and I'm like, I don't want to miss. Obviously Jared's games are
Right.
Thursdays, and I don't want to miss Lexi on Friday. But we did say, like, me and Val kind of had a discussion, and I'm like, it is the same thing every time for band. So maybe as time progresses, maybe Lexi will be like, yeah, go ref a game. I'm like, yes, but only if she's okay with it. If she's not okay with it, I'm gonna be at every one of them. So then Thursdays, here's our big dilemma. Thursdays, we have volleyball. Like Ava has volleyball games on Thursdays. Jared has football games on Thursdays.
Oh, wow. It's going to be rough.
Sometimes they're pretty far apart. So Val's like, well, you can go out into, you can go to the football game. And I'm like, Val, I spent years coaching this girl in volleyball, and you're going to tell me I got to go to the football game? But I love them both, so I'm kind of torn. It's catch 22. But we do have some that are close. Like a lot of them are like, hey, we're playing middle school in Prosper, and then the high school for football.
You have to go to half of one game and half of the other. So you go to the first set of Ava's and then leave and catch the second half of Jerry's game.
Well, the problem is the first game of the season, which I want to go to for Jared, is the first game of the season I want to go to with Ava. And I guess I can figure it out. We can figure it out. We can.
Same time?
Well, the first game for Jared is in Euless, which is halfway between here and Fort Worth.
Oh.
The first game for Ava is in Prosper somewhere. And so maybe, and it, Jared's game's at 7, so traffic and everything.
Right.
So I'm thinking what we'll have to do is just maybe FaceTime it.
So one of you is going to
something.
have to go to one game and one's going to have to go to the other.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
have to
that-
record it.
We'll have to do that. I'm so excited. Like I love watching my kids. Dad.
You are, because I love your kids, but I do not love watching band concerts. I do not love going to games. I do not love any of that. Like I've been going to Ava's games because it's like, it gets me out of the house. But for the most part, I could do without all of that in my life.
Speaking of getting out of the house, Holly, let's close with this. Last week you talked about doing some EMDR on being bored and
Right.
that. It's now been a week. Okay.
Mhm.
And how is that?
And I love it. It's like the best thing in the history of the world just to sit there and not do anything and just enjoy it. Like I have never done that in my life. And it's just like, I mean, there's some days, don't get me wrong, there's some days I'm bored just because I'm bored, not because of guilt, like I should be doing something more.
Right.
It's just like you can only watch so many TV shows. You can only do, so many puzzles or listen to so many songs.
Right.
Before it's like, I totally wish I could be going out somewhere or I was doing something. But now that I reminded you how great of a time it was at the concert the other day, then I was thinking like, oh, great, I'll get you out of the house. But it sounds like between like your reffing and all the shit you're doing with the kids, like you're not going to have a night free to do anything.
My nights are taken up. They are. I mean, and you texted me, I'm looking for it. You texted me something the other day and you're like, basically it was like being at home doing nothing is great. I'm like, I know, I've been saying that for years. And you're like, something about, well, you need to do EMDR. I'm basically being a homebody. I'm like, I have no problem being at home, not doing anything. Like, this is the greatest thing ever. If I'm at home, not doing anything.
I found it. Yeah. I found the conversation.
And you're like, well, you need to get out of the house because I'm freaking awesome. What'd you say?
I said, it's funny. I went from hating having nothing to do to loving it. You said EMDR is pretty awesome. I said, it is. When are you going to do it? You said, I love not having anything to do. I said, I don't mean for having nothing to do. For your homebodiness, I need to get you out more. You said, I like being at home with nothing to do. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I said, you tried to give away your concert ticket.
That is true. I did try to give away the concert ticket.
And you said, I did. And I said, that's why you need to EMDR it, because I am fun and you're going to miss out on so much shit.
Yeah. I have a good time just doing what I do. I go work when I need to work and then I'm home and I get to sit in my house in the air conditioning and invite the neighbor's dog over to have a play date with me.
I know.
Look what we have become.
You've become.
Look what we have become, Holly.
You've become those people.
We invite the neighbor's dog over.
Play dates for your dog.
We had a great time. Lulu's had a couple dogs to play with at our house and they're old ladies. They're like 3 and 4 years old. So they're like old lady with a 6-month-old, and they just did not want to play and they were smaller than her. So she's like,
Sam's dog hated her.
Oh yeah. She like puts her paw on them and like pushes them. And so they're like, leave me alone. Anyways, this dog's her size, same color, black and white. And they just run around and have a good time. And we are now having play dates with our neighbor's dogs. Like, hey, can we come get Olive so that we can, play with Lulu? Like what's happened? So all day yesterday, all afternoon, they just were here playing.
But it's great because now you have potential dog sitters when you go out of town.
That's
so
true.
Keep it up. You've got the neighbor with Daisy. Now you've got Olive's family.
I've got my primary in you. And then I've got...
You've also got Chad and Kimber with Charlie.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Got some backups.
So there you go. You got some backups.
Even Charlie was
backest of the backups.
Even Charlie didn't like Lulu. Charlie's like, this dog's crazy. Get me out of here. Lulu's a nut job sometimes around other dogs.
She is nutty.
So
cute.
Well, anyways, Holly, let's wrap it up for today. We've had some fun things we've talked about. You got to get your testosterone levels up, and I've got to get on the field more, the football field. And it was awesome. And I'm going to keep doing it. So anyways, thanks everybody for being here with us. We look forward to having you on the next show. Take care.
See ya.
Hey, what's up, my channel? Please hit the drop a like and hit the subscribe button. Looking for my first subscriber. Can't subscribe myself. Can't do that for some reason. I don't know why. Wish you could.